Hey guys, so I've been meaning to film like another video for a long time, and I recently, well not really recent anymore, I've been kind of slacking. I moved to California 9 months ago, so recent enough. Anyways, a bunch of shit has happened in the past 9 months that I want to talk to you guys about, but we're going to talk about probably the most recent thing that happened. So your girl's first Coachella was this year. Never been before. I never really had like a desire to. I've always been more into like EDC and things like that. So I was kind of like, whatever, Coachella. And then they released a lineup and I was super excited for it. Like, great lineup. Whatever, I'll go. I live 2 hours from Indio now because I live in Los Angeles. So why not go? Overall, liked the festival. Liked it a lot. But everyone in my friend group was like, wow, you have literally had the worst Coachella luck of all time. Like, thanks, I know. It just like started from day one. So like a preface on how Coachella went. It was like fine the first day. Like, we then brought out the Yodel Kid. It was fine. It was nice. And then it hit like 12:30 and it was absolutely freezing. And we waited like 4 hours in line for the shuttle and it was just fucking terrible. We were like freezing and shivering, and like the walk from the venue to the shuttle is like a mile long. Ridiculous. I go into day two being like, this is gonna be a better day, this is gonna be awesome, like, because the night before my friend was like getting sick and we didn't get home till like 5 in the morning and it was just a lot. So day two I'm like, it'll be better, whatever. So I'm driving this time. We decided to drive because the shuttle lines are just so long. So we're like, you know what? Might as well just drive. So we're driving. It's not that bad of a drive from our Airbnb to the venue. And so all of a sudden, like, I make a wrong turn and I go down this like dirt road kind of thing. And I'm very good about avoiding potholes usually. And I saw this pothole and it was like, not exaggerating, a foot deep and a foot wide. And I was like, what the hell? So I see it and it's super deep and I'm like, I'm gonna try to avoid this. And there was a car on the other side of the road, so I couldn't like completely swerve out of the way. So I hit like the side of the pothole a little bit and it made like a really big noise, but I was only going like maybe 15 miles an hour. So I was like, it's fine, like nothing's gonna happen. So we're driving and I'm like, yeah, I think I avoided it pretty well, whatever. So we're like a mile away from Coachella at this point. We're like driving, whatever. And my like friends start to fight, like the two in the car, like one of them pours water on each other, like it was just a big mess. And we were all just, I was just chilling. I was like, you know what, day two is gonna be better, it's gonna be fine. All of a sudden, like, my tire pressure light goes on and I'm like, maybe I did hit it a little hard. So, but I'm like, maybe like the bead fell off or there's just less pressure in there. I don't think I popped the tire. Like, it's a fairly new tire. So my friend, she like looks at the tire. She's like, I think the air pressure's going down. Like, I think I see it. I'm like trying to think optimistic. I was like kind of mad. I was like, no, like it's fine. It's not going down. So I put that like aside in my mind, like nothing's happening. It's fine. I look at the car again when we stop and we park and it looks absolutely fine. Like the tire pressure looks fine. The light's still on, like for the tire pressure, but like maybe it just needs to be filled up more. So we're having a great fucking time at Coachella, and then my friend and I decide that we're gonna leave Beyonce early so we can beat the traffic. We left Beyonce early for the next part of the story. Everything that happened, we left Beyonce, and that happened. I go out to the car, we're like, the festival's over, it's done. Beyonce's still performing though. And I go out to the car and I'm like, let me just check my tire just really quick, like before we start driving. And I go and I look at the tire and it is literally flat on the ground, like a cartoon drawing of a flat tire, like on the ground, flat. So I'm like, don't panic, it's fine. I have AAA, it's all good. AAA will save my motherfucking day, right? Right? No. If only Michaela knew what was gonna happen within the next few hours, I would have never even gone to Coachella, honestly. So I'm like there's already traffic at this point getting out of Coachella. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to call the AAA agent and I'm going to see. I'm going to ask her a suggestion. I'm going to be like, hey, should I wait for this tow truck guy? Is it going to be kind of quick, or should I just wait until the morning, leave my car here, take the shuttle home? Because we still had our shuttle passes. It was just going to be a long wait, or just maybe even Uber home. I'm calling the AAA driver. I'm calling AAA. And I'm like, hey, in your honest opinion, do you think it would be smart of me to leave the car here, or, you know, what should I do? She's like, well, honestly, the tow truck driver can be there within 45 minutes, like tow your car out of there, and then we'll tow it to a tire shop and we'll fix it in the morning. I'm like, okay, perfect. Sounds great. And like, also, mind you, that my friend and I are not fucked up at all. Like, not drunk, not like on drugs. Like, we are fine. We have our head on straight right now. Keep that in mind. So I'm like, great, perfect. So 45 minutes go by, and it's actually maybe like half an hour, maybe less. And so we get a call from the tow truck guy, and he says that he's here, like in the Coachella parking lot. And I was like, wow, that was fast, you know? I was like, perfect, cool, getting really happy. I'm like, we're gonna be home in no time, it's fine. Because what was gonna happen originally, because for AAA, like when they tow your car, you have to be present in the car when they drop it off. Like, you have to sign forms and stuff, so you have to be present when they drop it off. So it's not like we could have just left it and he could have towed it. Like, that would have been an easy solution, because we would have just shuttled home. I call him and he's like, yeah, like I'm in the parking lot. Like, do you see my orange flashing lights? And I'm like looking around, and I see him, and he's about quarter mile in the distance, like in the parking lot, because the parking lot's huge. So I'm trying to explain to him where we are, and it's a pretty good explanation. And like 10 minutes go by, and my friend and I see this guy like in construction clothes with a flashlight, like flashing around cars, blah blah blah. And he just looks very confused. And we're like, hey, like, are you the AAA driver? He's like, oh yeah, hey, what's up? Like, trying to start a conversation, and he like says the name and make and model of my car, like, so he's the AAA driver, like, we know that. And he's like, oh, because I'm originally from Connecticut. He's like, oh, you're from Connecticut? Like, I'm from Connecticut. Like, flashing his fucking flashlight on my friend and I's hoo-has. Like, she just got in the car. She was like, so are you gonna fix it or not? Like, he was trying to make conversation. It's 4 in the morning. We don't want to hear it. I'm like, so you left the truck over there though? Because he was like, yeah, I just wanted to walk to your car to like know exactly where it was. I was like, okay, but you can't do anything without the tow truck. So he goes back to the tow truck. He's like, yeah, like I'm gonna bring it over right now. I'm like, okay. So it was just kind of weird, whatever. My friend and I are like sitting on top of my car, like just waiting for this guy. And I'm seeing the tow truck move, but it's moving in the wrong direction. It's just driving up and down the Coachella parking lot. And I'm like, what is going on? So I call him. He's like, yeah, I'm trying to get over. Like, there's a fence in the way. And we're like, okay, well, I guess we can't do anything about that. Another half an hour goes by, and I see cars coming like through that fence. And I'm like, okay, he has no excuse now. It's already been an hour and a half. I call AAA, and they're like, oh, I'm really sorry, like, you know, we don't mean for this to happen, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure you don't. And I'm telling it like them. He was being a little bit creepy with us. He was like asking like what we were gonna wear the next day, and like flashing his flashlight like inappropriately on us. Like, what the fuck? So at this point I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna deal with this weird ass AAA driver. So 10 minutes go by after I call the AAA people again, and we're texting the whole time, by the way. So there's no miscommunication here. I'm talking to the tow truck driver. And my friend and I look over, and we see this motherfucker walking with some random woman from the festival. And I'm like, hello? He's like, oh yeah, I didn't forget about you. I'm like, but you're here to tow my car. Like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm just helping this woman find her car. But that's not what you're here to do, sir. Like, what the fuck? So at this point, I'm literally living in, my friend and I just look at each other, and we're just like, it's funny. She was making jokes. It was fine. And then all of a sudden, it completely changed. This motherfucker's walking around the festival, talking to some girl, like trying to get laid. Like, what are you doing? So I call AAA, and I'm like, I'm like, listen, he's with some woman walking around the festival, like not doing his job. I don't know what his problem is. And they're like, well, we're really sorry to hear your complaint. Like, so at this point, we've been there for 3 hours between when I first called AAA and now. My friend is on the phone with AAA, and she's like, listen, telling them all this stuff. Like, he's being inappropriate at this point, being like, oh, like, you guys look so pretty. Like, what the fuck? I'm like wearing this like long white dress, and I literally, she's on the phone like screaming with AAA, and I pick up my white dress and I'm like trudging through the Coachella parking lot, and I'm like, I'm gonna find this motherfucker. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm just so mad, because it wouldn't have been so bad if the AAA lady was like, oh yeah, like, just wait till tomorrow, it'll be better. And I was like, alright, fine, and ordered the fucking $100 Uber home. But no, she didn't. So this is where we are now. So I see his orange lights, and I'm walking towards them, like running through the parking lot, like livid as fuck. It's like 4:30 in the morning. And I knock on his window, and I'm like, hello? And he like rolls it down, and he's like, oh hey, what's up? Like, casual as fuck, with the girl in his passenger seat. The same girl. He was like, oh yeah, I'm just trying to help her like land her car. Like, meh. What are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm just, and I was like, no, I'm like, you're in the wrong lane to get to my car. He's like, well, they're not gonna let me tow your car out of here until everyone's gone. What do you mean? They're not, wouldn't you have said that first of all in the first place, so I could have fucking gone home 3 hours ago? And second, why would they let you in if they're not gonna let you out? So I call the AAA company, and they're like, no, that's not true, blah, blah, blah. At this point, I am crying out of anger. I am like shaking. I am pissed. It's 5 in the morning. This guy's like trying to like fuck some bitch from Coachella, like some 40-year-old woman with a denim skirt. I get that it's my fault that I ran over the pothole, but still, what the fuck? So he's like, keeps like trying to hit on us, like calling me, like texting me, like, what the hell? So I just text him like, dude, I'm leaving. Like, if you want to tow my car, go ahead. If not, like, fuck you. So calling AAA, they don't give a shit. I'm like, there's no shuttles running at this point anymore either. So now we have to Uber from Coachella, which is about an hour away from where we were staying, which is like $100 Uber. So like, that was cool. And so Uber just isn't working. An Uber pickup place at Coachella, and so my friend and I, we talked to this Uber driver, and we're like, we'll just PayPal you like the same amount, whatever. He's like, okay, yeah. So we're telling the Uber driver this whole fucking story about how we're like being fucking sexually harassed by this AAA driver. Like, it's almost like the AAA driver was using it as leverage to like get with us. Like, oh, like, if you do this, like, I'll like tow your car. Like, he was kind of had that attitude and was like, you know, maybe it could go a little quicker. Like, being fucking weird as shit. Like, I was like, I don't know what the fuck you mean, but you're disgusting. We get in the Uber, and we're telling the Uber driver the story, and he drops us off. It's fine. And we wake up the next morning, and my friend gets an email from the Uber driver, because like on PayPal you gotta use your email, and he's like, hey, like, I'm really sorry what happened to you, blah blah blah, but like, I would love to take you on a date. Like, I would drive 2 hours to Los Angeles to come take you on a date. Just everything was mad creepy about that whole fucking night. And so the tow truck guy's like, oh yeah, like, I'm not really supposed to do this, but I'll tow your car because you left. I was like, yeah, I left after 4 hours. He was like, well, I guess I could have you could have left 4 hours ago and I could have towed your car. I'm like, yeah, no fucking shit, dude. So the next day I call, and they're like, oh, they didn't tell you the tow shop wasn't open today? No, they didn't, but thank you. So the tow shop's not open, the tire shop's not open. So I'm like, whatever, I'm just gonna shuttle to Coachella again. I'm gonna get real drunk today and enjoy my fucking time while I'm here. Don't worry about that shit on Monday. So that's what I do. And on Monday, I ordered the Uber to the tow place, like the tire place that they were supposed to fix it to, which was fairly close to my hotel. No, this motherfucker dropped it off right next to Coachella. So guess what? That was another $100 Uber to fucking Indio to fucking get my damn car. So I'm like, you know what? It's fine. I'm in the Uber. Like, money's whatever. You could always make it back. Like, but I was pissed. And so I get there, and I know this isn't their fault. And I get there, and they're like, a really long wait for cars today. And I'm like, okay, like, how long? Because my friends are still at the Airbnb, like, just waiting for me. They were like, well, it's only going to take 5 minutes to put your new tire on, but it's going to be a 2-hour wait. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, nothing this weekend could go worse. Let me back up the story as well. Day 3, while I was trying to have a great time, my friends and I decided that we were going to split up for a second and then find each other. And we had a meeting spot, and we were all going to meet at this meeting spot at one time, and we just never found each other. Literally, we were walking around. I had my friend's shoes. She was barefoot. We were all trying to find each other for 4 hours of the fucking festival. And we finally found each other just randomly. All of our phones were dead. Nobody had service. Nobody had chargers. We called each other like 72 times before our phones died. Like nothing. So my friend's walking around barefoot. I have our shoes. We're all just lost as fuck walking around Coachella. Everyone's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, just terrible. Just terrible. So anyways, I get to the tire place and it's like $80 for a new tire. That's fine. And some guy calls from AAA and he's like, hey, like, would you like to file a complaint? Like, blah, blah, blah. And I tell him everything that happened. And he's like, okay, thanks. And hangs up the phone. That's it. Nothing. Yeah. That was my story of how, the AAA driver basically used us as leverage to try to like get something out of us for fucking towing my car. And yeah, definitely not a good first Coachella experience, but it was really fun overall, and I know I'll be back. Could have been a lot better, so we're gonna see what happens next year. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you next time.